has turned grey, and BDS back to the top 3, Dagda. I want you to tell me that curse is gone.
Slowly we're playing better. I hope we can even step up even more and just giving a good show and try to reach final.
Adam is trying to chase them out, but Drakos got him! Magnustorm is there, Sheo re-engages onto Upset, who needs his uptime. He starts fighting it out, but Nuke runs in and takes him down!
And we want to win the split and go finals, so we'll have to beat them no matter what.
What's going to be the score?
3-0.
Confidence as Noah tries to complete the kill. Instant ulti. Noah on the flash, both sides. Hatsama remains standing. Ulti for Broken Blade not quite available. Nice sidestep on the piercing light. Broken Blade.
Oh my god.
Q flash.
We're definitely looking to do another low bracket run.
And we still want to win the split. We actually believe it deeply and try to be better next time.
Losing against Fnatic always sucks. We're gonna come in stronger than ever.
And here we are, the penultimate series in the LEC Summer. And if there's one thing I love more than saying penultimate, it is watching the clash of top teams here in the LEC. BDS, a long, hard road for them ahead if they want to make it further. Already took down KC in a nail-biting 5-game series. G2 looking to recover from a crushing 5-game loss against Fnatic the previous week. We'll see who comes out on top today. I'm Drakos, joined by Vedius and Dagda.
As the desk highlighted, there is a very long history between these two organizations, but it's hard to call it a rivalry when it's really been more of a beatdown. 23-5 is the overall record in favor of G2 against BDS across the 2 years that they've been playing against each other. And when they meet in a best of 5, BDS has not been able to find G2's number.
Yeah, BDS has only ever managed to take home a win against G2 twice, both of them best of ones, one of them this summer. So it's a case of, can BDS try and strike lucky twice here in summer, taking down G2, moving on to the finals? Because they already beat one of their big curses yesterday, which was not being able to win a Game 5 in a best of 5. So maybe the curses have been broken across the board.
Well, they did say on Euphoria that they are the gatekeepers of the top 3. Unfortunately for them, the title gatekeepers are usually G2. So we're about to find out which gatekeeper can overcome which as we jump straight into draft. Ziggs and Ezreal taken off the board from the side of G2 with Tristana naturally from the side of BDS. You imagine the Rumble is going to be added to this pool. Ashe, I imagine, is either going to be prioritized or taken away by the side of G2.
And that's where I'm really curious to see what happens with a lot of these AP junglers. In the G2 Fnatic series, we saw Brand and a lot of the AP junglers start to go to the wayside as Sejuani priority rose up, which is Sejuani now banned away. Whereas on the opposite side for BDS, I felt like they almost went back into that style with the Brand and the Zyra really being big components of that.
It was a very different opponent yesterday. Of course, Closer are known for playing those active playmakers, very reliant on the picks like Sejuani. Sheo and Yike a little bit different. Both of them willing to play the AP champions when the draft calls for it. And with Sejuani off the table, Maokai, you know, a bit of a shade in terms of what he provides comparatively, but the has been allowed through. Last time this was picked against BDS, or BDS had access to the champion, they weren't ready to play it. We'll have to hope for G2 Esports it works out a little bit better.
Yeah, the Ashe going to be taken away on the opposite side. They're like, we saw this already from BDS over the course of playoffs, so not too surprised to see if they do end up blocking that in. The question then is if they want to try and go for something like the Lucian in the mid lane for Nuke and just highly prioritize these double AD carry pickups already, or how they want to try and approach this draft.
Ashe going to be locked in for BDS. Will they pick up their jungler here, or instead will they lock in their, maybe even mid lane? Yesterday we saw some Corki priority from them, the Lucian as well. Makes a lot of sense. Wouldn't be surprised to see that locked in, and it is. So now G2, what have they cooked for us? Will we see something like the Zeri mid as an answer? Maybe even the Kai'Sa, something that we've been seeing a decent amount from G2.
Do have the time to make that kind of choice. Of course, the difficulty when you've already locked in an AP top laner, very often you're looking for the AP mid component to pair, get the AD jungle, in terms of textbook League of Legends at least, but of course G2 not really a textbook team. We'll see what they want to prioritize. Maokai will be locked in alongside the Rumble, so a lot of good AoE team fighting components, but also a lot of Merc Treads value.
And imagine we see the Corki lock in here as well. Does take a back step when it goes in towards the mid lane matchup against Lucian, but still gives you a lot of control, that AD fighter as well that you can look to play around, especially when you've already gotten a very AP heavy top side. You don't want to tend into more control mages here. And Corki kind of the one that stands out with Tristana taken away.
Wonder if, yeah, all right, they're going to play it safe. It's G2, I was thinking to myself, Yone, Yasuo, these two things the Caps could be
Sometimes,
considering.
you know, when you're such a crazy cook and you make weird stuff, the normal stuff is the weird stuff.
True, that's very true. But it looks like they're going to keep it standard as Sheo going to lock in the Zyra once more. We have seen 4 games of it so far from him. And to mixed success, I would say, from the side of BDS. But overall, kind of a relatively even damage distribution on both sides.
Yeah, as BDS, you are definitely looking to try and play at long range with this composition. You know, Culling, the Ashe is already quite long range, Zyra to try and buy space. So I think there's 2 options you can try and play here. You can either go for a kite back composition with something like, even if Adam wants to go towards his Sion again in the top side, or just kind of have G2 play into you, or you can try and go a little bit more aggressive. But one of the things I've noticed a lot from, like, say, drafts for top esports is when they're in a position like this, they'll often tend towards something like a Senna and Ornn, where you've already got a lot of damage and you just want more long-range engage for these sorts of comps. So I'm curious if we end up getting something along that lines, but we haven't really seen G2 go towards that style yet.
Have not. Jhin, though, is going to be the ban, so clearly BDS giving a little bit of respect to the more utility-focused ADCs. Jhin and Rumble, historically, a very solid pairing in terms of how they like to play the fights. Yeah, so they're going to limit the bot lane in some other way.
Misfortune, I think would be a solid ban.
Yeah,
There it is. Instinct right now for G2 is they're thinking Leona MF or Leona something. So they'd want some sort of agency, which is why I think the Jhin ban also makes sense, just because they're worried about what could be paired up with the Leona. Of course, BDS now, you would imagine that because they've already seen the Rumble, they'd want to lock in their top lane pick and look to try and counter support. So G2 should ban away things that could maybe be annoying for Rumble, but that's few and far between. There are very few things that can be annoying, and they banned away some of the things they think could be obnoxious. So the Cassante and the Olaf make sense in the context of the Rumble.
I feel like BDS have to have something, though. You don't just let that Rumble through with how strong he is. So maybe it is just going back towards the Ornn and saying, yeah, okay, they're just going to go for a bog standard kind of top side. But Adam has to feel comfortable here because Rumble is such a strong pick.
I did forget that this man is a Draven main.
I mean, hasn't been locked in quite some time.
Yeah, we haven't seen it from him so far this split.
It's a champion that we saw played mid lane. It's a champion that we know is incredibly powerful in terms of an AD meta just because of how oppressive it is, but doesn't really benefit from Kraken being strong. Obviously can just use...
I was going to say, I think it's a terrible angle for it, though. When you're running into Zyra, like AoE, crowd control, the Ornn,
you don't like just getting slowed by
yeah, it's just awful.
Frost. That doesn't sound enjoyable.
Yeah, as you try and catch your axe, you're just slowly watching it just out of your reach. But no, I think the Varus works 10 times better here, and it fills that utility role that Jhin kind of fills as well, in being able to set up fights and just give crowd control for Rumble and Corki to deal the damage as well.
And interesting, of course, in the final stages of the draft, G2, of course, prioritizing the Varus Leona, very powerful 2v2, did have the option of taking the Braum for themselves, which is, of course, a very good interaction with the Ornn. You can just instantly delete that ultimate. Because they don't take it, it means BDS are able to grab it. It's gonna make it much trickier in these team fights for G2 to get out if they start to lose a fight. The Braum's so powerful against double AD comps.
I think Dagda has had a good read on the draft in that it's very clear G2 Esports want to fight you. A very, I would say, traditional in the current meta sense of a team fight 5v5. They love to play around these objectives. They have pretty strong lanes. They're going to have push and top. Mid should be pretty contested. Bot should also be pretty contested. Meanwhile, I think the BDS have a lot of disengage, a lot of range. You know, when the engage comes in, they have the Braum to be able to take a step back. They have Ashe out to take a step back. Zyra ultimate to take a step back. They have lots of tools to create space to allow them to play the long fight rather than the all-in burst fight.
And I just don't think you have a lot of range on G2 side. Like, you're very short range when it comes to the Varus. You're very short range when it comes to the Rumble as well. You want to be in on top of people, so you get a ton of value from Braum, from Zyra. So I really like what BDS have drafted here.
I mean, when you say short range, of course, we're seeing a lot more of the on-hit Varus these days, right?
Yeah,
where a lot of your damage doesn't actually come from your Q. It's more of actually the traditional AD carry of landing all those
exactly.
orders.
Yeah.
We'll have to see what the early game is going to look like here. Reminder, BDS again coming off of a hard-fought win to deny KC top 3. G2 looking to return to finals for the rematch against Fnatic. Let's get into it. G2 versus BDS. Game 1.
BDS coming off of yesterday, game 1, shaky as they got to the later portion of the game, end up losing that first one, but certainly looks stronger than they have over the course of playoffs. So now is the big test. How far have BDS come in this playoffs? Because G2 will punish you every step of the way, and you cannot give this squad an inch.
Well, I mean, I will say that G2 also had a shaky performance against Fnatic. A lot of that needs to be given credit towards Fnatic, of course. But G2's in a strange spot where after their MSI performance against Top Esports, against T1, they've been longing to prove that they belong in the conversation of the top teams in the world, right?
Yeah.
And so if they're going to be in that conversation, then domestically the expectation is that they are a cut above everyone else. Because you look at some of the top teams internationally and they do separate themselves from the rest of the pack. And so far we haven't actually seen that consistency from G2. So I think in today's series, a lot of G2 fans are looking to see that semblance of dominance from this team.
But we have seen that dominance against BDS specifically, of course, right? Always able to find those wins, always able to come out on top of Yike, already incredibly disruptive. You can see, able to take it away. Sheo now hates his life. This is obnoxious. Paired with a wonderful graphic showing just how dominant G2 were in their last series versus BDS. And this is a good indicator of why Yike getting a little bit weird with the early pathing. The fact that he gets that smite is so crucial.
I wouldn't have thought this was ever going to happen. I was meant to be like, you've got push mid for Lucian, you got push for Ice and Labrov and bot. Sheo's going to have access to wherever the hell he wants, and Yike was like, no, I'm going to come in real early and just disrupt any sort of early game plans here you had as BDS.
I mean, we've seen this strategy in the LCK. We saw it even from Yike last week, but it was against things like Sejuani.
Exactly,
you know?
yeah.
It's against champions that you don't expect to have these very fast clears, but Yike is saying, you know what, I think Maokai's strong enough at level 1 that I can do whatever I want, and he's able to find that steal. So well played by Yike. Of course, we talked about how mid and bot were going to be pretty contested lanes, but early on, BDS have been able to get the early push. Nice trades coming in from Nuke up against Caps. The bot side of the map, Ice really leveraging that range advantage that Ashe can have in the 2 versus 2, and when paired alongside a Braum, it can be a very scary affair. Once a few more levels come in from the side of G2's bot lane, they have to be a little bit more, sorry, BDS's bot lane has to be a little bit more cautious because the all-in upfront damage from this 2v2 can be quite scary. And now you're going to see that early, oh, I say early vision. Instead, Ice not going to commit that. But did of course have the Hawk shot, so we should have some information as to where Yike is.
And easy to see how both sides could start to pay more and more attention to the bottom side of the map. Of course, Ashe and Varus. Varus, you know, used to be in that realm of utility carries. I think it's less true in the on-hit build than it was with the lethality build, but provides that upfront engage. And Caps getting lower and lower in this 1v1, forced to pop the last cookie there. Just trying to hold on into the tower. Nuke gets a few autos off.
Just a very small highlight for Ice. He pathed up looking like he was going to ward Tribrush, didn't drop his ward because he knew Mikyx would sweep it. So Mikyx then walks up, sweeps it, there's no ward there, and now he's placed his ward in the Tribrush and they don't have any way to clear it. Like, just a small mind game there, nicely done to be able to get that early vision.
Sheo also with his own mind game. So initially you see Yike moving down into this bot side to keep his own camp safe because you saw Sheo move into his own bot to catch his camps, but then he rotated up onto the top end and stole away the blue buff from Yike. So even though we got that initial early steal coming through from Yike, Sheo with some nice pathing has now equaled himself up. He will be slight camp behind, but still catching another blue buff for himself is going to be great for this side.
Definitely important, especially after the early disruption coming in for Yike. Gold right now basically dead even, as finally the bounce back means that G2 are in decent control of the lane. That said, Ice able to back, able to get a buy off. Early prioritization on Boots. Just needs to make sure that he's mobile enough to keep these fights going.
Using a bit of CS to trade back on the Han Summer, but trying to relieve some of this pressure. They'll be able to catch the wave fairly comfortably. But overall, outside of that very small advantage gained for Yike to slow Sheo down just a little bit, the game is largely very even.
At this point, I think we're headed towards a level 6 sort of game. Perhaps an early rotation for other reasons. We'll see when supports are actually able to grab it as well. But when you just have so many ult-dependent champions in the game, early action a little bit less likely. Especially when the junglers are in a battle for CS and superior pathing instead of who can get into the lane first. Mikyx going to catch wave, and this is the exact same thing that happened in reverse.
Yeah, just notice how Ice and Labrov made it very difficult for Mikyx to freeze the wave. Earlier, Labrov has the advantage of the shield, where it means he can actually tank some damage, buy a little bit more time before the wave actually connects to the tower. But Mikyx doesn't quite have that luxury, so the wave being pushed underneath the tower does mean that Hansama lost a little bit of farm, a little bit of XP, but ultimately not the end of the world.
It also gives Labrov the first reset here to start moving up towards Void Grubs in 40 seconds. And when you've got a Zyra, that's kind of where you really want to start putting the pressure on. But Broken Blade has a lot of control on this top side, so it can make it a little bit difficult, especially as he should be able to hit 6 off this next wave. And if you end up with like Yike flash stunning Sheo, then the equalizer coming in over the top of it, it's really difficult to fight this in the 3v3. So you desperately need the help from your bottom lane if you want to try and secure this. So BDS may actually decide, well, if they catch Yike here, actually that'd be huge.
Yike crucially placing that vision. If he walked too far forward there, at least a little bit of damage would have gone down, and Yike's really still not that tanky in the game. Braum starts to harass, and G2 posturing around the Drake, but it looks like they do not actually want to start it yet. Will finally turn to start. Knowing they have Sheo in the area means there's not really a threat up cross map. As you highlight, Vedi, Ornn level 6. Rumble, level 6, everybody looking to get involved. Nuke as well, going to be big here. Caps' poke needs to land early to balance out what the Culling can bring to the table. Call the Forge God getting called out. Now the Equalizer coming down, Mikyx getting lower and lower in the pit. And meanwhile, Sheo's gonna get taken out. Nice arrow snipe from Hansama, and Brokenblade's here to burn them all down, but Nuke gonna try to turn it back. Clean flash coming out for Ice. Brokenblade running, but he's not gonna make it over. Yes, he is! One more on Labrov. Oh, he's dizzy! He thought he had the angle! It's an absolute disaster, and again, Hansama! French sniper in the midst of the pit, finding two, as Brokenblade, full confidence here, still gonna get knocked up, and there goes Caps! Valkyrie over the wall, an absolute bloodbath. G2 tying up the kill score, or almost, as Adam sprints to safety. The big one finally gonna finish the job.
BDS needed that fight to go in their favor. They dropped mid wave, they dropped bot wave to try and make that happen, but G2 managing to turn what looked like a good fight for BDS completely back around.
Very rarely do we see a full 5v5 this early on over the first Dragon of the game. Mikyx goes onto the back line to set up for the equalizer, but the fight is initiated by Adam to split G2 up. Now you can see Caps and Hansam are isolated from their two members, but Brokenblade just doesn't die here. One more auto, but he's able to flash over the wall. He wants to save his flash initially, then the flash from Nuke to try and create space. A good flash snipe from Hansam puts him into reach of Adam, who also flashes over the wall. I think everyone's flash was used there except for Caps. Like, what a crazy fight. And as you said, Drakos, 4 for 4, the Dragon still lives.
An absolute mess, gentlemen. Just an incredibly scrappy. How many people flashed out with less than 100 HP?
Yes.
Brokenblade should have died much faster. But this early in the game, right, once you use that initial set of cooldowns, nobody does enough damage to instantly burn through the remaining 20% of a health bar.
Yeah, but it's as these cooldowns start to come back up, you got to be careful. Ice now ticking over to 6. Could set up for plays. Nuke playing very aggressive against Caps in the mid lane, nicely using the double shot passive that gives you that advantage with the press the attack. But I'm curious if we are going to have some sort of opportunity here with Ice to look for an ultimate play even towards mid or on towards this bottom side with Sheo being in position.
What's Caps up to? Moving through the top river.
Maybe just going for the honeyfoot.
Yeah. Okay.
Just wants a snack. Looks like a roam. Actually just a snack run.
Ooh.
Yike.
Sheo's in a good position. He's been able to circumvent any vision.
Sheo backstepping. Doesn't
Yike is suspicious, yeah. He's suspicious because Braum is moving into the tri-brush, and his instincts were correct. Just great map awareness there from Yike to recognize the only reason why Labrov would be moving in here is if he had a reason to, and the only reason he'd have a reason to is if Zyra is here as well. So he's going to concede the red buff. He can't really get support from his mid laner because you'll see that Nuke in a great position, keeping pressure on Caps while also positioning his way closer to the bot side so that he can collapse first, while the bot lane is also forced underneath their tower. Good control from BDS to allow them to steal the red.
And while it is nice that they were able to steal the red, of course, in the midst of the chaos, G2 did grab the first spawn of Grub, so it is 3-0. The Drake remains untaken after that last bloodbath, although I imagine soon we'll get another one as Brokenblade does a lot of damage still in the 1v1 despite the MR itemization coming in for Adam. The early magic pen really paying off. Culling leveraged by Nuke, but Caps doing a good job of keeping the pressure up here in mid lane.
Yeah, the Ice Arrow goes wide on mid and doesn't quite connect onto top side either, so BB going to get some nice time alone with this turret, and Caps getting that push in mid. So overall, the acceleration of Caps in the mid has helped him battle against what is not a great matchup for the Corki in the mid lane, and overall the map control on objective control is still going in G2's favor.
BDS reset and bringing Adam back, Sheo there as well, but just to clear, not to make any greater plays yet. See when BDS want to force the next fight. Of course, it's a minute 30 till the second Grub spawn. Adam again as the Ornn. You do not expect him to win out in the 1v1. He will survive a little bit more graciously the more MR he gets, but really is going to be more about the team fight impact that Ornn can bring to the table, as well as the late game scaling with the Ornn upgrades. For now, BDS bringing Labrov mid lane, ready to fight for Prio, see if they can get some control. With Dragon still on the table, kind of pick the litter for whoever gets mid Prio in terms of where they want to put their attention.
I feel like it's just a battle for mid into Dragon, but you've already got push for Ice on that bot side, so G2 need to wander down and get that first before they can really contest this bot side river, but it does feel a bit of an unusual time in his Caps.
Good patience from Caps.
I mean, that's kind of his moniker, right? He always plays at the very edge. Both frustrating and anxious to watch. But Mikyx working with Yike right now to control vision. Honestly, I figured the G2's priorities would be more so on the grub spawning in 30 seconds. Instead, they're turning their attention to the bot side once more. I'm curious as to where this rising priority in these early dragons has come from, because them even contesting the first one was honestly quite a shock to me. I was expecting them to look for a cross map or a trade, but they're eager to fight. They're ready to spill some blood on the Rift. We turn our attention to Cap, so we can see him hovering around the top river, securing the Scuttle Crab.
We'll grab that one as Broken Blade moves down. Should always have first move here. Adam fighting just for a bit of control ward control. Nice arrow. Huge long range chains DC is there. Mikyx should just be dead. Ulti from Sheo calling over the wall to give the kill to Nuke. Well executed from the side of BDS.
Nice pick, managing to get Mikyx, but you're having a reset from Sheo, so I thought maybe they'd go for Dragon, maybe they'd look for the Void Grubs and try and capitalize on that, but instead they're just going to look for plates for ice in this bot side.
Yeah, I'm also a little surprised. I guess because of Mikyx's very short death timer, they were a little paranoid to start it off, given G2's ability to stall, maybe. Merc trade's now secured for Mikyx, so that CC duration going to be a little less impactful versus him. You already talked about it in the draft, Drakos, how much value Merc trades can be for both sides.
That's potentially 6 grubs here for G2, though. You can see Yike even a little confused, going, hang on a second, where the hell is Sheo? BB going to get traded on nicely in the top side, but when you've already got, you know, good control for Broken Blade in the top end, although that does hurt that Kainic Rucker is complete for Adam. If he get some time alone with a side turret, the opportunity for Caps to get some push and look for turrets as well, this is huge for G2.
Yeah, but in a very drawn-out play, BDS will grab that Drake. Mikyx ready to protect Caps at the very minimum. Sheo, good heads up. Spots that Mikyx could be in the bush, but Mikyx now might be the one in trouble. TP coming in, the Maokai all over the wall. Now Nuke going to be the one to get locked up, but the body block coming in from Labrov is solid. Yike doing a decent amount of damage. First strike coming through. Broken Blade trying to get involved. Knock up from Adam, not going to connect. G2 finding the kill in mid lane, keeping Mikyx standing.
A crazy collapse from both sides here as G2 was setting up mainly for protection, whereas BDS was looking to punish what looked like an aggressive play from Caps. But quick TPs from both top laners mean that Broken Blade is able to get himself involved in the fight, but ultimately he wasn't needed. It was Yike that ends up securing the kill, and then they're forced to flash away as Adam forces the re-engage. Still though, 5 for 5 in terms of kills, the gold relatively even overall, but it's G2 that's getting these small tower advantages, which is going to help them in the long run.
And that's where it makes a difference on who has the gold on either side, right? Because you look at Broken Blade, he's got a nice advantage for himself. Corki in the mid lane has a great advantage. The advantage for BDS is on the support, which is not where you want that gold to be. So already you can see that G2, if you get to these fights, are going to be in a significantly stronger position.
Yeah, sadly, Labrov getting Warmog sooner will not let his carries regenerate health, so perhaps not ideal, but still all from 5 assists. He hasn't stolen a single kill yet. Not a bad game, but a bit frustrating, obviously, that Caps especially has been able to handle that mid lane matchup and sit pretty comfortably, right? Early Trinity Force as well as the tier stacking. Hansama and Mikyx now taking up home in the mid lane. We'll see where they want to shift their attention if they are able to fight for mid control here. Sheo starting the Herald is big for BDS. Do not want to give that one over to G2, especially with 6 grubs. Will be a pressure point on the map, but of course, as highlighted by you, Rob, and our observers, Broken Blade with 6 grub buff, just having a hell of a time hitting this tower. It's going to take a little bit, but he's eventually going to kill it because no one is coming.
And I think, although BDS getting Rift Herald is nice, it's going to be difficult for them to really set up with this Rift Herald. You can look at Dragon in 3 minutes and go, oh, well, you threaten mid into a potential tower take, but mid is still relatively healthy. And with the opportunity for Yike to play around mid lane, have that ultimate to deter BDS from overextending to take that mid lane turret is going to make it pretty difficult for BDS to get a full tower take of value out of this Rift Herald, but maybe topside is where they want to put their focus at the moment.
Yike hiding in fog as long as possible, hoping maybe BDS would make an over-aggressive move. Nature's Grasp up. They could go for the long-range Maokai, but a little bit tricky as Labrov is in position to body block. G2 instead, happy to just match the 3v3 on top side and fight for a bit of prio. Not really anything to play for at this moment. The objective already taken, the tower already traded. Dragon in 2.5 minutes. At this point, given how much prio there was early in the game, I wouldn't be surprised to see both sides shift down for that objective.
I mean, both teams are kind of setting their sights on these other towers, right? Obviously, mid is the big tower that you'd really like to unlock because of how much access it gives you into the side lanes and enemy jungle. But that top lane tower for BDS is very weak. So G2, I think that's going to be their main priority. Of course, BDS kind of recognizing this, while also setting up on the top side to be able to secure Herald. They now have a few options available to themselves. They could choose to abandon the top side tower in order to try and overcommit onto mids. But it looks like they're setting up for a play once again onto Caps.
Good read from Caps, but the Phosphorus Bomb doesn't connect. Oh!
He is suspicious, though. He knows that those rockets aren't entirely trustworthy.
That was a very that was a phosphorus bomb and like 3 rockets of the brush followed by the blue trinket. He is not feeling 100% confident here on the top
That's when you roll like a 14 in D&D and you're not sure if you got the check or you didn't get the check.
Decidedly average roll, what does it mean? Well, at this point, Caps luckily was patient enough that he can finally push up, but Adam very quick to clear these waves, even without any kind of bombing cinder item. And so it's pretty chill in the game right now. Pretty quiet. BDS, who should have first access to the bottom side as the Herald, will finally get dropped. Labrov, unfortunately, not going to hit that winner's bite, so Hansam able to sit pretty comfortably.
So as we said, BDS have a few options. They're going to drop it down mid to be able to just get this extra damage. It won't be able to secure it, but it gives them access into the bot side of the map. They are thinking about the dragon spawning in about 50 seconds time, so they're turning attention to this bot tower. Nice Rumble ultimate from Broken Blade. However, I don't think that's going to be available now for the upcoming dragon fight. But G2, maybe they don't care. Maybe they're happy to concede it and instead prioritize securing, I say, the top side of the map. They've just been able to unlock that thanks to Caps. Mikyx now hovering around. They have the damage to get a kill, though.
Adam, of course, really only MR so far, a single cloth armor otherwise, but conceding mid lane here, a little bit awkward. So Rumble used to clear bottom wave, stops the initial cross map, but in mid lane, BDS commit enough members to grab the tower, and now first access to the Drake here, 15 seconds. They're in a good spot.
But as Vedi was saying, you don't have access to the Rumble ultimate now, so trying to fight for this isn't really an option. And if you're a BDS, I think you just play off of mid wave. You got the static Shiv, which gives Ice control over mid push, and you can just defend your mid lane tower and prevent G2 from really contesting Dragon or anywhere else in the map, because a tier 2, G2 can't really push for on the top side.
Arrow, ooh, forcing the flash out from Broken Blade. Couldn't afford to backstep as Labrov was right there waiting.
And he had to respect that. Lucian damage is something you cannot afford to underestimate, so he respects it. And a nice pick from Ice. Definitely been having a great game so far on the Ashe. 2-0-2. Going to be one of the big carries and one of the top performers that we've been seeing from BDS throughout playoffs, honestly. He's been the consistent highlight. I definitely think in the conversation for best performing AD carry of the split, for sure.
And I think the backbone of a BDS team that has, you know, struggled to find the same form that they had in the regular season, right? A guy that has been so reliable on the Ashe and on other champions. And the fact that Ashe as a pick also offers not only, you know, the ability to win out in these team fights, to do a lot of damage, but the extra utility, the hawk shot, the extra arrow to start fights is just so good for BDS to give those tools to one of their best performing members.
I think we are starting to see a resurgence from BDS, though. This has been really smart play as to how they want to try and move around the map, and now trying to overload topside to potentially capture Caps, but they get mid-turret, they get the Dragon, they've managed to keep G2 from being able to put pressure on towards the mid-turret as well, so it's been really well orchestrated for BDS, and this is something we saw from them against Karmine Corp yesterday, was reading very well what the opponent wants to do, and then being in a position to fight against that.
The only downside is it comes back to a point that you made earlier, Dagda, which is that the gold's on the right carries.
Grasp. TP used as well, Cleanse forced out, BDS. Committing to defend the tower. Remember, Broken Blade TP'd here.
He did.
I think G2 were anticipating a bit more of a fight, perhaps.
Well, they underestimated the wave clear from BDS at the very least. Another wave is going to come through. Broken Blade still hovering around.
Ooh, ulti not going to connect, crucially. Q flash back from Yike, but Yike still going to get cut down here. Excellent use of the calling, and now the immediate ball under the G2 backline. Triple kill for Nuke. Mikyx can do nothing in response. That was a beautiful fight from BDS.
That was so well played by BDS. Patience to not overextend. They knew that BB had probably teleported in towards the mid lane, so like, we're going to take this nice and slow, not overcommit. As G2 look to walk away, that's when they find the pick onto Yike, who would just overextend that a little bit too far for the war.
I mean, it starts with just a Braum Q, and they say, you know what, this Maokai is very squishy. The passive is applied. We can culling him down. The Ornn ultimate is there. They know they have the numbers advantage. Nice flash in from Sheo as well to land that two-man route. And then once Mikyx's committed, he has no team left to back him up. Triple kills secured for Nuke. The only downside for BDS is that Baron spawned a little later, otherwise they could have secured that objective as well.
Could have immediately gone for it, of course. Aggressive TP down here to the bottom side. Labrov ready to go over the wall. Has already used the Unbreakable. Caps did respawn, though, so he is here too. Nice sidestep from Broken Blade.
It was a flash commitment from Labrov. Yeah. They were very eager to force that play, especially knowing that BB didn't have his flash available. But BDS, they've come in with a focused game plan. They met G2 with the Brawl and the early Dragon. They've been able to trade picks with G2. And while the gold had steadily been improving for G2, particularly on Caps and Broken Blade, that was a 1.4k lead for Caps. That's now 75 for Nuke, and that should really highlight the influx of gold he just picked up for himself.
incredibly tough to deal with, especially as you get later in the game. They really lack, you know, they don't have an Ornn on their team. They do have a reasonably tanky front line, but with Maokai not building tanky items, Nuke is pretty free if he wants to just go for an early IE, maximize that culling damage, but now the pick onto Labrov. Ulti gonna go a little bit wide on the Hansama, not the ideal target. He's trying to body block for his support, but it might cost him his life in the process. Tries to get away from the red carpet, gets burned to the ground, and as good as the last fight was for BDS, those picks for G2 should just be the Baron.
There was a ward at the back of Red Pit that I think spotted Sheo out, so they knew that it was just Labrov and Ice there, and G2 capitalized immediately now. Can you steal Sheo?
Calling. Sheo. Can he get into the pit? Sheo! Steals and manages to turn it back. Nuke in the meantime in the back of the pit manages to take down one. He's still trying to fight on the top side of the screen. We don't get to see it. He tries to eliminate Caps. BDS managed to salvage the situation. Adam, too damn tanky in the mid lane, will not drop to the 3 remaining members of G2.
A situation that should have been disaster for BDS turns into a hero moment for Sheo. A great Baron steal comes through, keeps the gold lead alive for BDS, and now they walk away with 2 Baron buffs.
And 45 seconds until a potential 3rd dragon here for BDS. They can use that Baron buff to push in mid, get control over River, and yeah, just Sheo clipped on the top side of that ward there as he's moving through the jungle. So G2 knew that they could collapse onto BDS here. Really well done by G2, but Sheo says, you know what, lads, I got a trick in my back pocket as well. Look at this Baron, it's about to disappear.
I mean, the beauty of Adam here is it's really hard to stop Sheo entering the pit. And also he has that Banshees to be able to just soak up the Maokai ultimate to get in range and steal it away. Well played with the 3-man unit of BDS to be able to secure that objective. And now the Lucian has the Baron buff. He can be this effective side laner. They're not going to commit for the tower though. Instead, they want to set up for the dragon. 3 seconds. This will put them on soul point.
Should be an easy take. G2 do not have the vision, do not have the members to contest this. Adam holding on to mid lane as long as he can. G2 maybe try to get a tower back in response, but all of BDS are ready to move, and if G2 get caught off guard, luckily the sapling spots it. Arrow does not connect. BDS a bit split here. Broken Blade's ult, important to watch. Adam has ult as well, however. Ulti from Mikyx goes wide. Labrov's going to find purchase, but only onto Mikyx. Now Nature's Grasp going in. Entire team of BDS tries to move in position, but it just means they've been caught out by the Rumble ult. Good catch onto Sheo, but there's no follow-up damage.
5 seconds left until Adam's ultimate's up and available as well. BDS have weathered the storm from a huge amount of G2's engage, and now BDS can start to push forward because they know they've got the engage advantage.
Do you see how uncomfortable just Zyra and Braum make engages? Like, every time Mikyx walks up, there's 2 plants in his face. He's going to take a chunk of his HP down. Every time Yike wants to try and follow up on any engage, there's the Braum potential there as well. It becomes very difficult to find the 5v5 that they're looking for, and this is exactly how BDS want to be playing these fights. Patience, reserve. They want to look for the re-engages once all the tools have been used, and that's exactly what they did there. Another tower secured. Cap's trying to get something on the cross map, but good wave clear from Adam, and he's going to defend his tier 2.
But this is what we were talking about in Champ Select. Like, you are very short range as G2, apart from realistically Cap. So having these ultimates from Sheo, Labrov, being able to dictate where G2 get to walk is incredibly important, and it's made it so difficult for them to operate. And now, didn't get as much, like, it's still a 2.5k gold advantage off the Red Bull Baron power play. They get that mid lane tier 2, but it does mean that they're going to be able to push mid into collapse onto these sidelines. Caps hiding on top side, preemptively expecting BDS to go for this play.
Hoping to catch out Adam. Sheo waiting off to the side, grasping roots. Now a TP going to be immediately responded to. Full fight on the top side of the map. Hansama going to get caught out, waiting on the cleanse as long as possible. Broken Blade going in. This is one powerful rumble. He's going to remind BDS that quickly. Instant disengage now coming in. Nice ulti from Mikyx, only initially going to find the slug. Zenith Blade in. Ice in trouble, trying to find space to maneuver. Caps looking to follow up. Unbreakable. For Labrov, not available. Now all of G2 descending. Nature's Grasp to follow. Might be just out of range. Ice and Sheo going to walk away.
It's a disaster play for BDS. Adam had used his ult to clear the top wave. Doesn't have that for the fight. Nuke TPs into the middle of G2. Gets burnt out immediately. And now G2, just like that, are cracking open the base of BDS.
Getting aggressive as possible, knowing that those ultimate cooldowns are not available. Adam, though, incredibly tanky. Can at least threaten, force G2 back, but big misstep there from the side of BDS.
Let's look back and see the setup. So the whole idea here is to trap Adam, but G2 very quickly change their game plan when they see the TP because they know that can only be the Lucian. So he's forced to flash out immediately. He finds himself in a very awkward position as he is shut down immediately, and BDS is forced to retreat. Mikyx finds a nice angle onto Ice to force out the cleanse. He doesn't have the flash available. Labrov sacrificing his life to keep his AD carry alive. While G2 only converted into 2 kills, they do get that top tower, and they very much swing the momentum of the game back in their favor.
And a quick reminder to BDS, as strong as you are in the team fights, when you have the proper setup, you have to be careful because Broken Blade is still incredibly powerful as the Rumble. If you give him a good angle on the equalizer, the fight gets very difficult very quickly. And yeah, Lucian in the 1v1, good. Lucian TPing into 3 people, still a bit of a risk. Hawkshot gonna spot out G2 here on the bottom side. G2 do not want to give up this next Drake, but it's still quite a ways away. So BDS doing what they can to force mid prio. Nuke a bit split should not matter too much.
Yeah, still, I like the way... Oh, hang on, Yike going for the all-in
Dangerous
here.
grabs coming out. Adam there to body block. Good patience from the side of BDS. Nice initial damage on the caps, not quite able to get the 4th proc. And again, that's the threat of the Braum. Ashe arrow missing though, really stops that engage.
Especially when Hansama didn't have that cleanse available, but I had to burn flash to get away from it. But still, a minute until this Dragon. BDS have gotten control over mid, are setting up vision, and it feels inevitable that we're going to look for this big team fight at this Infernal Soul for BDS. And it's a case of, can G2 find some way to get a pick beforehand so they don't have to continuously run into this BDS machine?
It's definitely a tricky proposition. Using the Maokai ultimate at that point, we should have it back up for the team fight, but it's a very long cooldown. For BDS, a pretty easy disengage. Didn't need to burn too many resources outside of the Ashe arrow, which they don't really need for team fights.
Can I also just say, I love Sheo's itemization this game. Stopping off, as Vedi already highlighted, for the early spell shield, has made it so difficult for like Leona to target him, for anyone to kind of even pop that realistically because he's playing so far back. So it only means that there's less tools and less pick opportunities for G2 to take. And now he goes towards the Rileys, knowing that that was really all he needed, was just a spell shield to try and keep G2 at bay.
And this is why like the Zyra brands of the world are so frustrating, right? It's because you get those 2 items, you can really build anything you want after that. They provide so much damage just from the plants or the burn passive with Braum. But Arrow now going to connect onto Mikyx. Immediate fall up. So you see nice flash off to the side. Hansama locked up briefly, but Mikyx just getting chunked away at Ice. Flashing back to safety. Already ignited, but Mikyx going down. Now the re-engage coming in from Yike, but they've already lost their support. Excellent equalizer. Nuke losing about half his health. Still not enough though. BDS discipline, walk in for the last tick of the equalizer. Not ideal, but G2 offer the split. They say, hey, we're running straight to this Baron. Come and fight us, but Nuke more than happy to take a quick break to pick up the soul in the meantime.
I don't know if they do this fast enough though. They're gonna try. That is a very low HP Nuke. He does have the TP available, but this is basically a 4v4.
That is not the calculation they thought they had made. Already Infernal Soul there for the side of BDS. Now they've leashed the Baron. G2 need to be ready to fight. They cannot give this one away. Nuke recalling.
Mikyx's back.
Does need to heal up, but has the TP available. And the fact that the play fizzles means BDS just completely win out. They grab the initial pick. They grab Soul. They are at such a commanding position.
And just credits to BDS on initiating onto Mikyx of all people. He's supposed to be the tank, the front line, but they land a good Ashe arrow onto him. They force his flash out early, and then Ice says, you've got no protection, buddy. I'm gonna chase you down. Mikyx makes the smart move of trying to re-engage, but then Ice flashes out. He doesn't even burn the cleanse in that exchange. But now we find ourselves back at the Baron. G2 feeling the pressure of BDS. Soul in hand, items being completed. We're basically at the late game point.
Yeah. And the gold is so close, the kills are so close, but this Infernal Soul for BDS is big, and as you saw in the previous fight, it's just really hard for G2 to play this out. We mentioned it before with the Zyra, with the Ornn, with the Braum, but it's the same is true with the Ashe, right? If you misstep as anyone on the side of G2, BDS will whittle you down and kill you. And unless the rest of the team is willing to immediately engage to force that fight, it'll just be a free pick every time.
And gifting the Rumble across to set this up from BDS was beautiful in draft. You can see already how much they already had kind of pre-prepared for G2 coming into this, and now it's BDS that are leading the charge. Nuke has dipped off to this bot side, trying to see if he could maybe match Broken Blade on a side lane, but it means that BDS do feel a little bit of threat now to pull a trigger on something, whether that is the Baron or something else.
Rob threatening. Mikyx walking too far forward. Immediately going to take a ton of damage. The knockdown now coming in. That's the equalizer. TP quick in from the side of Broken Blade. Wasn't able to hit level 16, importantly, but Ice off to the side might be in trouble. Cap trying to finish the count. Ice flashing out to safety, blinking out bar, but Nuke getting the job done. Broken Blade, no equalizer left, just has to start running at him, unafraid. Starting to step up here. Sheo off to the side as well. BDS again finding a pick, finding a kill in the fight.
Nuke has been stepping up this playoffs. He gets the shutdown onto Caps, a crucial member of G2's success, and now he TP's back in with the Baron in their sights.
And because Labrov has the Warmogs, he's back up to almost full HP. Adam's totally fine. Sheo, relatively untouched, so it becomes the Yike story. Can he get into the pit? They don't know that he's on this top side. He hasn't been spotted. Blue ward to give him vision.
Ooh, plant crucially, not going to spot him, not quite sure where he is. Ready to try to find a way into the pit. They're turned, they're focusing on Mikyx, but they're not hitting the objective. Crucially, Yike now going in, Yike trying to steal it, but Sheo, for the second time this game, will mark his name on that Baron. This belongs to BDS.
There have been a few fights that have gone G2's way, but by and large, BDS have controlled G2. We see the steal attempt to come through from G2, but it is not enough. Yike flashes over the wall. They shut down Mikyx, they shut down Yike. BDS with their second Baron of the game, the Soul. Theirs as well. The gold lead may not look significant, but BDS is in full control of this game.
Caps has to run away from the top lane push. A potential culling could have opened up on him there, and he is flashless, but BDS now going to use this time to relocate themselves to the bottom side of the map, start to get the push, try and finally crack open this base of G2, or at least get to the inhibitor structures.
And it's so hard now for G2 to play this game out. Portion of the game where they had an advantage, BDS executed better, right? In a lot of the fights to bring this game back. Of course, a lot of it did come down to a steal to even up the gold, but in this late game, BDS leveraging their tools so fantastically. Broken Blade, the only remaining member with a gold lead, but it's kind of fake because the Ornn items are coming through. That's 3,000 additional gold of value. There's an Infernal Soul, and Broken Blade is just an equalizer in most of these fights. He cannot get on top of Ice or Nuke, short of a catastrophic misstep from BDS. So the execution for G2 is not simple. They're really going to need to try to find a way to pull a rabbit out of a hat with this one. Really a mystery team fight to me.
But he's an equalizer without a setup. You have Cleanse on Ice, you have that spell shield on towards Sheo. The opportunities to make these plays happen are slim and far between.
All right, equalizer now going down. Decent hits on the Labrov, not a whole lot of damage. No one really stepping up means BDS just throw down the Zyra ult as well, trade ulti for ulti, continue forward, but with Nature's Grasp down too, and the slow, inevitable siege of this Ashe, these Zyra plants, G2 going to be forced to concede at least this inhibitor, but now the Ornn being gone out. Hansama can't cleanse that one. Knockup's going to be big. Yike retreating. Mikyx, 4 members still standing tall. The wave coming in. BDS recalls from Adam. Wants to TP back in potentially, or BDS content just to have advantage. No, they want to go for a little bit more here.
Looking to end the game. First game against
G2. He just gets to lead it. Nuke does too much damage. The Flame Spitter is good, but it's just not good enough. That is the most fed member of G2 taken out in the 1v1. BDS, slow, steady, push forward. 24 seconds on Hansama, 50 seconds on Broken Blade. There should be no way for G2 to win this. Mikyx going to the backside. Nuke immediately turning back. Excellent shot calling from BDS. They identify the targets and they take them down. Caps trying to split their attention. The arrow still connecting for Ice. Dominance, the name of the game here for BDS in game 1 as they strike first blood against G2 in this best of 5.
People were questioning BDS. Did they belong as the gatekeepers of the top 3? Well, G2 just felt the full force of BDS.
Ice and Nuke honestly had an incredible game. Like, the whole team played very well, but those two really stood out to me as just star talents in this game 1. Incredible stuff. You can't afford to give Ice Ashe anymore. I think you need to take him off the pit because that man is too damn good.
Absolutely is. We're going to have to see if they make those adjustments, if they'll give Ice another shot at the Ashe as we get closer to game 2. For now, however, we're going to toss it to a quick break. When we return, game 2, BDS versus G2.
Oh man, I feel like that was my best intro ever.
Yeah, not bad, hey, not bad.
Talented.
I can go, bro. You know it as well. I also know you can dance. You should join me next time. And yes, I feel like you've also deserved a bit of a break. You've earned it.
Thanks.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Good job.
Hey, thank you.
Red Bull gives you wings.